Lyon is still the capital of weaving, and it's certainly still the capital of silk, because Lyon has inherited a very long tradition and some remarkable expertise.
The silk trade in Lyon today is the living heritage of 4 centuries of creativity and development. It's only here that you find this potential because this know-how doesn't exist anywhere else.
The history of Lyon is still wrapped up and woven around its precious fabrics. For more than 10 years, it's hosted the silk market in the city's former stock exchange. Once a year, manufacturers and buyers meet among the colourful cloths. Ever since the saliva of the silkworm was first discovered in China, this precious thread has been spun. During the Renaissance period, King François I wanted France to outshine Italy and decided to make Lyon the capital of the silk industry.
In Lyon, 3 elements came together which explain the city's extremely remarkable production. The first was this desire for France to be a place of silk production, so it was above all a political desire at the offset. The second element was the presence in Lyon of a community who appreciated fine art and who quickly understood the importance of design. And the third element was the presence of a major scientific community, which meant that Lyon was able to revolutionize the loom several times over.
That history is still alive today on the slopes of the city's Croix-Rousse area. In this historic neighbourhood of the Canuts or the silk weavers, Maison Prel is the last family-run manufacturer. Since 1752, Prel has been specialising in upholstery fabrics. A dozen or so mechanised machines weave up to 50 metres of cloth every day under the watchful eye of the company's expert artisans. But upstairs in the studio, time has almost stood still. 12 hand looms make it possible to recreate or refurbish historical artefacts. In 1801, the so-called jacquard loom revolutionized the weaving of silk in making it partly mechanized.
He's working on a jacquard loom which first appeared at the start of the 19th century. This one here probably dates back from around 1875, 1880. These looms are complex, they're old and slow, but no other machine is capable of weaving such complicated fabrics. When you marry the jacquard loom with the experience of a skilled weaver, you're able to make fabrics that are impossible to make mechanically. So that's why the most beautiful velvets and brocades like here are made by hand, because we don't know how to make them in any other way.
I'm going to push the bar down to bring all the threads up, and then each thread is passed through a stitch, and the stitch is operated by the jacquard mechanism. It's a machine that requires lots of precision, and it might sound paradoxical, but it also requires lots of physical effort. On a velvet, you can lift up to 80 kilos, and this bar, I'll lift it 2,500 times a day. So 2,500 times 80 kilos.
Sebastian is meticulously recreating the cloth for an armchair that once belonged to Marie Antoinette, that's today owned by the Metropolitan Museum in New York. It will take him almost 3 years in total to finish.
I weave between 3.5 and 5 centimetres a day. We don't have any motor at all. It's really us that are the motors.
There are only 7 silk weavers left in Lyon who still use hand looms, and Nicolas is the youngest of them all.
It's important for me to be part of the preservation of this know-how, which is at risk of disappearing. And it's a shame to be in Lyon and to say to oneself that there will be no more silk weavers one day, when there were thousands just a few decades ago. When you arrive here in the morning, it's not everyone who has the chance of working in such an atmosphere, as this is where time has stood still. It's fair to say that when you weave all day, you mentally escape. I often think of the origins of the orders, for who these fabrics were first made, and where they are today.
The history of the Prel weavers has carefully been recorded in these logbooks since the 19th century. This is the entry for an order placed in 1874 by Charles Garnier, the designer of the Opera House in Paris.
This is our history, and I'd almost say part of France's history. And for us, it's a fabulous help for our business, because when we found them, we had all the details of the measurements, we were able to recreate interior decorations, and we were able to be completely in keeping with what was done back then.
The company also keeps some of its treasures under lock and key, like this tester made in 1977 for the reupholstery of Louis XIV's bedroom at Versailles.
Louis XIV really made a mark on his era. It was a really exceptional piece of cloth which represents 23 years of non-stop weaving. Either we were the Sun King or we weren't.